So Laz, you find yourself on a wagon heading west, and part of this, well, actually, Laz, I have a quick question for you. Was in Laz's backstory, was his family his blood family, or was it like a troupe of actors that he was traveling with? Oh, sorry, I for some reason I was looking at the VC chat, not the not the voice box. That's my bad. All right, blood family. Okay, yeah. So Laz, you find yourself on a wagon, traveling with your family down to the south, and a little bit west. Where are you on the wagon? Are you driving the horses, driving the carriage, or are you riding in the back, or perhaps on a horse? Okay. Yeah, so we'll say that you wake up, and maybe it's one of your siblings that's waking you up so you can take over on the reins for a while, because it's been a long trip, especially by a wagon, and it's a hot, humid summer's day as you're traveling deeper down into the south, and the plan seems to be just not really a particular destination in mind per se, as your family is traveling from place to place trying to find work. Even a good 30 years or so even a good 30 years or so after the war, the South is rebuilding slowly. A lot of people have suffered. A lot of farmers have lost their land, lost their families, lost their ways of living, and for artists, it's especially so. There's not really a lot of room for actors and artists and musicians when not a lot of people have enough money or enough food to feed their own families. And so your family has been traveling, looking for work from town to town, basically anything to get by. And along one of these roads, you can feel the hot summer sun, the buzzing of insects, and probably out in the distance you can see maybe a small surviving herd of cattle from that belong to a very, very fortunate farmer in a field somewhere. And it continues like this for a while, but eventually there are figures in the road that stop your wagon, and one of the men pulls up his horse and shouts, "Hold up for just a moment, sir. If we could trouble you for just a moment, if we could trouble you to stop for just a moment, we have a favor to ask you and your family." And these men that stop you, they're about 4 or 5. Their clothing looks ragged. They're wearing coats, and just underneath the coats you do spot a kind of like a gray color underneath their jackets, and they look ragged and thin and hungry. What would you like to do, Laz? Do you want to stop the carriage or keep going? We don't got too much ourselves, but we might be able to help a little. What's it you need? And the man that manages to get you to stop your carriage for just a moment, he opens his coat and shows this kind of ragged, hand-me-down gray uniform, and looks like kind of a battalion crest. As the other men with him, 2 of them pull out pistols, and he says, the Lemoyne Raiders kindly request you hand over your food, medicine, and all your valuables, son. Okay, we don't want any trouble. And your sibling, let's say your brother, he looks scared. and he looks over to you, Laz, and speaks quietly and says, I've heard about these people. They fight like the war never ended. They're not good people, Laz. And the Lemoyne raider that stopped you, he says, well, we don't want any trouble either, son. You just stay put, we'll take what we need, and you can be on your way. And you can see two of the other raiders. They start to move towards the back of your wagon, where the rest of your family are. And within not even a minute or two, there's already a scuffle in the back of the wagon. Let's say Laz's father doesn't want to give up let's say it's a family heirloom, or actually no, let's say there's a scuffle in the back of the wagon. It's Laz's father doesn't want to, let's say he doesn't want to give up a small metal box. It's a little lock box that has your family's life savings, and you can hear him shouting, you can take everything else, but we need this money to live. And as you almost get up, Laz, your brother, Laz, your brother finds that kind of courage inside of him, and he gets up before you can stop him, and he leaps in to intervene as they pull your father out of the back of the wagon. And he's a pretty old gentleman, so they pull him out of there easily and throw him on the ground. And Laz, you feel this, I guess the best way to describe it would be like a warmth rising up in your chest, and you can hear the Lemoyne raiders, or you can even see them, not only knocking your father down to the ground, but they grab your brother too and start beating them both and shouting things like, we'll teach you some respect. We'll teach you not to mess with the raiders. And you do get this dream every once in a while, flashbacks of what happened. And this is usually where you black out and where there's gaps in your memory. But this time your memory's more lucid. You start to remember what happened as you feel this warmth in your chest and this voice in the back of your head basically screaming that you have to do something. Don't hesitate, just do something, because if you don't, they're going to kill your family, and they might kill you too. And that's when you feel your vision start to go red, and it's just a fluid motion as you lose control of your body and start to change. And the change hurts. It hurts a lot as your muscles tear, bones break, your body reshapes itself until you're larger. The front side of the carriage buckles under your weight. The horses start to panic and whinny and scream, and you hear one of the raiders say something about say something along the lines of, oh look boys, we've got some fresh blood. And they start to change too. And one of them, before they completely change, you watch as a large claw that must be your own, but you don't recognize it, and you just tear the jaw off of one and rip them apart, limb from limb. And it's a mess, and it's this blind fury, this rage, this frenzy, you've become an unstoppable force. Unstoppable to even just there. You become an unstoppable force, and you remember how this dream ends, how it always ends. You alone among a a tornado of blood and gore, but this time you remember every detail of your frenzy, your first change, and you find yourself just in a graveyard of discarded limbs and blood and death. And then you wake up in Adrian's house. You find yourself in a cold sweat. You realize that you get a sense of your bearings and time, and it's been over a year since that happened. You don't always get that nightmare, but it's the first time that you remember the details that you normally... It's the first time you remember the details where you blacked out. And how does Laz feel about, well, and even watching the violence in your dream, you feel a sense of not joy, but kind of a sense of contentment at the violence that you brought to those people, those werewolves that you eventually learned are known as spiral dancers. You feel this sense of contentment knowing that you stopped them, knowing that you were able to stop them before they could hurt anybody else, even if you lost your family. The violence felt good, and it is the day after the moot, the first of the 3 days that the rest of your pack has decided to rest before setting off to go after those poachers. Yeah, Laz, was there anything that you wanted to do during those 3 days? Or even after this dream, I should say. Certainly consider the possibility of tearing those poachers a new orifice or 3. I think this is the spelling. Yeah,
When you're that much of a badass, doesn't matter how it's spelled.
Yeah, you definitely consider the thought of making those poachers hurt just as badly as they've hurt those bison, and I'd say it's a good feeling. Like it's definitely I'd say it's a good feeling that you feel. Nice and warm and fuzzy. Warm, fuzzy, and a bit of good bitter kick to it, like some kind of fresh baked good I can't equate because I don't know things. Yeah, Laz, is there anything you'd like to do in Saint Denis, or do you want to spend time with anyone else in the group? Yeah, it is morning, and you smell some food being cooked downstairs. It looks like maybe Izzy is making breakfast. Possibly Izzy, or maybe some of the other kinfolk that Adrian lives with.
And in the main house, it's Izzy or Adrian that cooks.
Okay, all right. So it's Izzy then, or Adrian.
Probably Izzy. She's better at it.
What's there to eat?
Typical breakfast foods, leftover bread from the night before, eggs, probably ham, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd say leftovers from the night before, probably eggs, sausage, ham, maybe even some crawfish from Le Gras. The kinfolk there have probably brought Adrian some freshly caught crawfish as a thank you for coming in to help them out during the Umbra storm and the shenanigans involving the risen dead. Oh, what is Adrian doing? Les says, but I guess in general, what's Adrian doing? Something good for hanging out?
Is this like the first day?
Yes, the first day.
Yeah, he's probably checking mail, making sure that he runs several businesses from basically a post office, so he's always got business on his mind. He tries to get that out of the way first. He's got an office next to his bedroom, so he's usually found in there, which is kind of a cool place. He's actually got a Victrola in there, basically a really early record player.
Okay.
It's harder to get, but he likes like the jazz and the blues music that you'd find in Saint Denis. Some French stuff. And he's going to be doing a lot of yard work for the next few days, but anything Laz wants to hang out with, and if Laz ever has any questions, he can always ask Adrian, that's fine. And Isaac might even be out in the front yard, but he doesn't sleep in the house. He just camps out in the front yard.
Yeah.
And I guess if Laz is the curious type, everybody that comes into the house, it's one of those great big, it's got the pillars in the front. It's an actual, no, I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of the word, plantation house. And Adrian and Izzy don't sleep in the same room, but they both have like guest rooms. The master bedroom is always locked. Can't go in there. So nobody goes into the master bedroom. They'll notice. Nobody. It's just locked. Windows are locked. Doors are locked. The windows are covered with really heavy drapes. You can imagine looking at it from the outside that no light can get in there whatsoever. But yeah, basically other than the master bedroom, everybody has the run of the house. They can go anywhere they want. The only big rules that Adrian has is please don't smoke in the house. He's got asthma. And if a room belongs to somebody else, don't go in there without their permission, that kind of deal, you know. He won't even go into Laz's or Heath's or even Isaac's room. Even though Isaac doesn't stay in his room, he has a room there that he can keep things in, so he doesn't have to carry all of his worldly possessions if he doesn't want to. That kind of deal.
Made a very mysterious ponderance with that master bedroom, but...
You can ask about it.
Well, yeah, well, what's the big deal with it then? Is it an elder's pad? Says Laz.
So he actually goes into the office and asks Adrian. I'll tell you a story, Laz. My father owned this house, and it came about that my father was doing some underhanded dealings inside the city of Saint Denis. Once I found out, I took care of my father. Isaac and I and Isadora, we all came down here, came to the house, and what's a good word for it? We murdered the vampire that was living here, and yeah. So he opens up like on his desk. There's a box, a wooden box. He opens it up and he pulls out the top tray that has cigars in it, and he grabs a key, puts the cigars back, closes the lid, and he says, "Come on with me." And I'm walking down the hallway. He's like, "Yeah, so there's vampires and shit in here. You know, most of them, a lot of them are just like normal people that live forever and stay young and drink blood, whatever. But I've become to find that the older a vampire gets, the more fucked up he gets mentally. I don't think, well, I think it comes down to humans are not supposed to live this long, so they don't act right after a while." And he's walking him down the hall, down the stairs, and main floor. Gets to the master bedroom. He hands Laz a lantern. Yeah, it's lit and everything. And he puts the key in the door and he turns it a few times. He unlocks it. He turns the handle and says, "If you would like to go into the master bedroom, you may. You may." "Oh, you can? Well, nothing in there that I don't think will hurt you." It's just that the moment Izzy and I saw the room, we decided to lock the door and forget that it exists. But I think you should be allowed to look if you'd like.
And Laz says, maybe just a peek?
Sure, go ahead. It's actually kind of funny. As Laz goes up and he pushes the door open, it creaks just a little bit, and a lot of humidity around there, so the hinges squeak. You hear Izzy scream from the kitchen, "Don't go in that fucking room!" But the door's open just enough for Laz to see hundreds of pairs of eyes. That vampire had a bed in the middle of the room, and every inch of wall is covered in shelves, and one right after the other there is a Victorian and older, they're just dolls all around the room. Glass faces, dead glass eyes just staring at you. Most of these things at this day and age are made with like real human hair and shit like that. So it's fucking freaky. But all these dolls all dressed up like little girls all around the room.
And
Completely filled.
You can hear as he stomping down the hallway. Don't go in that fucking room. And she's probably waving like a big wooden spoon or something.
Yep. Scariest fucking thing you'll ever see.
What, her or the dolls?
Both.
And Laz slowly closes the door back. And Izzy sees that that you, Laz, are with Adrian, and she just gives Adrian like a kind of a squint kind of look and says, "I thought so. Don't go in that room." And she shakes the ladle at Laz and then starts to head back to the kitchen.
After he had the peek, he sticks the key back in the door, locks it, sticks the key back in his pocket, and says, "I'm going to go back to imagining that room doesn't even exist."
And from the outside, you hear Isaac telling you should just burn the whole damn house down.
Fucking room.
And Laz looks back at the door and says, "Yeah, forgetting's a pretty good idea, if it's possible."
Your nightmare fuel. I try and forget this room. Vampires. Sick motherfuckers. You ever fight a vampire, Laz?
Laz says, "I don't think so."
Don't underestimate them if you ever know that you're about to fight one. Don't underestimate them. There's a reason why they can outlive you. And they get smart after a time. Most of them won't fuck with us, but some of them don't care. Yeah.
And Laz, you probably recall quite a few Garu in the Sept have deed names based on the deeds they did in their fights against vampires back when vampires had a stronger hold on Saint Denis, such as, for example, the Bonar shotgun special, and a few others.
Nasty, nasty creatures. It's funny, too, because the Shadow Lords and the Silent Striders all have a big beef with the vampires. I'm sure the Bone Gnars would, too, considering vampires are typically in the cities, and so are the Bone Gnars. If I remember correctly, the Silent Striders have a problem with one tribe. I know my tribe has another problem with another tribe of vampires. I think that's what they call themselves, tribes, like we do. They copy us.
Yeah, let's pan the camera over to Heath. So how is Heath's morning going?
Pretty damn shitty. When he woke, he woke up. The first thing he did, he stuffed his toe and went on the bed. So if anybody heard a loud curse throughout the mansion, now you know why. And mostly it's due to basically the change with the lifestyle that he has now. He's slowly starting to grow out to being a morning person, so it takes him a while to fully wake up. And he just trudges along to the kitchen looking for coffee.
Yeah, and as you trudge down to the kitchen, you do see the dining room table is set. Izzy looks like she has some eggs and sausage on the stove, and also some cups of coffee, or a pitcher of coffee waiting for anybody that wants some.
And he smells the coffee, but he has his eyes closed, so he's not sure what he's walking to visually. So he bumps into the nearest wall while trudging for this coffee. And it's only when he has the pitcher, he makes himself a cup and he just drinks it straight on. Doesn't matter how hot it is. Thank God.
And I imagine imagine this zombie-like Heath walking past Adrian and Laz, just probably completely ignoring them as he slowly wanders over in his search for coffee.
Meanwhile, Laz is being scarred to life by the fucking Annabelle series, but morning, and he tilts his hat down. He tilts his hat down towards the housemaid lady, what's her face,
Izzy. She's not a maid.
Oh, easy, thank you.
Most people think that her and Adrian are married.
Morning. And he just forgets about the cup and just takes the pitcher and sits on the table.
And as he says good morning, and as you steal the pitcher from the kitchen, she steps into the hallway to tell Adrian and Laz that Heath has the coffee in the dining room whenever you want some, and she's gonna step outside for just a moment to let Isaac know that breakfast is almost ready if he would like some.
Yeah, Isaac would spend most of his morning just tending to the horses, making sure they're all brushed down, taken care of, fed, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
While he knows that Adrian has people that could do something like that, Isaac wouldn't let him. He'd rather do it himself just to have something to do. And he'll, he'll pack his things up and put it on his horse, and that's when he'll head inside, giving a little nod to her, make sure his boots aren't too dirty, which they are. He goes in anyway.
And as Isaac walks inside, you all hear Izzy. You all hear Izzy is yeah.
Yeah, I know. I feel that too. Honestly.
Isaac and Izzy.
Izzy and Izzy.
You hear Izzy from the kitchen. You better not be tracking mud in my house.
Just a bit.
We'll clean it up, don't worry. He gets his own, he doesn't drink the coffee, he gets some boiling water and starts to make his tea. He's not even much of an eater, he's so small.
Yeah, unless Adrian would stop Izzy, I think she's gonna get a boiling pot ready for you, or put a pot on the stove to boil some water for you for your tea.
Yeah, she normally would. She's been doing it since he was 5 years old, so 20 years now. So yeah, he's used to that. He gets his morning tea, maybe a little bit of ham or something, but not too much. He just doesn't eat too much. When they're all...
And as everybody kind of assembles for breakfast, Izzy is gonna ask Laz and Heath, do you prefer to serve yourselves, or do you want me to set out some plates for you?
I can serve myself, thank you. And he stands up and goes to the kitchen, still taking the pitcher of coffee with him.
He's taking the whole damn pitcher with him.
And Laz says, I can pick up what I like, thanks. So Izzy will set out like a few, I guess, platters of food for everybody to pick what they like, so that there's no mud in her kitchen.
Oh. Oh, how about that? And so, for Heath, he basically stacks his plate full of food. Like, if you could put like a fucking like a extended wall on the plate, he probably would. And then he sits down and he looks at Adrian and asks, "So, what's the plan today?"
He went AFK for a sec. He's coming back right now.
Okay.
Sorry about that. What was that?
What's the plan today?
Well, honestly, I'm kind of waiting for the nighttime to come. I want to see if the blood moon comes back.
How often does it go up normally?
Usually a blood moon happens once or twice a year, and it happens for about half a night, but last night it stayed the entire night. If it comes back tonight, it's not a typical blood moon with whatever reasons that it happens. It's something else. It's something worse. We got to figure out why the dead were digging themselves up out of their graves, because that's not common.
I assume not.
Thankfully.
Last thing I need is my great-great-grand just coming out of the grave.
God, I could imagine my dad coming back.
It's funny you say that, Zest, because you do have the ancestors background.
Oh, the irony that he doesn't know.
Yeah, but we'll probably get to that later.
And but still, you think there might be something wrong with the city or the entire realm itself?
Well, there's something wrong in the Pure Lands themselves. I mean, a storm for one was bad. That's not good. Ghost trains and ghosts, period. I mean, that's more Isaac's wheelhouse. but we've come to the conclusion they don't normally dig themselves out of the graves. You know, every now and again you'll find a ghost doing what it did before it died or whatever, but that was a lot of ghosts doing a lot of shit. Maybe it was the storm, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's all just tied together, I don't know. We don't know yet. As far as it goes for the next few days, you guys can do whatever you want. I'm going to be working here at the house a little bit. We're going to be checking on the moon. If there's anything you guys need to learn or anything like that, go ahead and do it. Any gifts that you guys want to take. I'm going to see about learning how to speak to spirits since we don't have a third anymore. It should be pretty quick and easy for me.
That goes just beyond my head, honestly.
It will for a while. It's all right. The nice thing about being an Auron is at the very beginning, we're all just going to point you in a direction and tell you to shoot, punch, claw, or bite. And that's all you'll need to do for a while.
Good enough for me. Politics was never my strong suit.
I love a good politicking.
Point me to the nearest bar and just see what happens. We might end up in a drinking competition, or we might end up with the whole bar being destroyed. We don't know.
Sounds like a fun Friday night.
Hell yeah. Just you, vodka, rum, and a whole bunch of fists.
Oh, hey, if you guys want to go out tonight after we check the moon, check the Umbra, we can all go to a bar tonight. That's easy. If you want to drink here, you can drink here too. I figure it's safer to drink here because, well, the fighting.
But that's the best part.
Yeah, until the elders get mad that you shifted in the middle of a bar.
Oh, right, that. Aside from that, there ain't much that I think I should do. It's gonna be a dull few days.
Put you to work cutting down trees.
Yeah, I'll do. Better than nothing.
Okay.
Unless Laz wants to show me around something. You're a local, right, Laz?
And Laz says, yeah.
See, you can show all of us around some of your favorite hiding spots within the city.
No, there's a few things we can do. I mean, there's bars. There's a place out by the Baptist church. Play some good blues music and sell some. Well, I don't know if we should really drink there. It'll make you go blind. But good music. And
well, that's the best part, isn't it?
Yeah. A little blindness, a little fist fight.
But the question is that should we be wasting the time to do all this?
Look, we're gonna get back out there, but I want to make sure that the dead aren't coming back out again. We're gonna keep home safe for a little bit, and then we're gonna get back out.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it does us no good if we go riding out to go kill somebody that hired a poacher just to come back home and find that the dead woke up and half the city's gone.
Makes sense. Excuse me.
Excuse
Now,
me.
you gonna set that coffee down, or are you just gonna hold it the whole time?
Oh,
Heath, share the goddamn coffee, goddammit.
fine. And then he just slams the coffee pitcher down.
Come on now, don't spill it everywhere.
And he lets out that and takes out his handkerchief to clean around the pitcher, and then just pushes it lightly. There you go, sirs.
Don't need to call me sir. He takes the coffee finally and pours himself some.
It's probably like even more than half empty at that
The whole
point.
time, Isaac is just watching him carry around the thing and talk, and I just like, I just need a cup, just a small cup.
Coffee, motherfucker.
Adrian. Izzy has probably been watching this whole time, and she's staying in the kitchen and trying to hide herself laughing, like hand over her mouth, leaning on the counter.
Adrian actually gets up and says, I forgot something, runs off to his office. He'll be back in a couple minutes.
Hey, Lazaro. Well, he's gone. Were you and him in the master bedroom of the house? Weren't we told not to go in there?
Isaac just chuckles a little bit.
And Laz says, not in it, no.
What happened? I would have paid attention, but the only thing that I thought in the morning was how to get a fresh cup of coffee.
Yeah, that was my only thought too, until some bonehead kept walking around with the pitcher.
Well, I'm sorry. I got here today first.
I think you should ask Adrian about that room. He'll show it to you.
Sure, why not? It's not like I have anything else to do.
You kind of hear Isaac mumble, still need to burn the damn house down and go back to eating.
And Laz says, I think, yeah, Adrian told me about it and made it too mysterious to not inquire more about.
Why are you hesitating, Laszlo?
And Laz answers, because it's a very, very very fascinating thing.
Now I'm more curious.
And Laz adds, Izzy kind of doesn't like it though. And you're gonna
Well.
hear it, Izzy in the kitchen. No one goes in that room.
No, hold up now. Just let them see what the room looks like. Everybody should see it at least once in their life. It's interesting.
And Izzy steps into the doorway into the kitchen and says, I'm not gonna have part of my house turn into some circus sideshow.
Come on now, it's just this once.
And she gives you like a look.
He gives her a sweet smile.
It's okay, ma'am. He's just praying for my downfall. So whatever this is, if he's interested in me seeing it, it can't be good.
And Izzy just throws her hands up into the air and is like, fine. And she walks back into the kitchen. Don't come crying to me if you don't like it, though.
Oh, there's a lot of things I don't like, but I promise I won't.
You guys messing with that room again?
Well,
Yeah.
apparently, Laszlo thinks I should see it because you made it too mysterious to not ask about. And then Izzy said that to not to cry to her once I see this room.
Well, I mean, it's bad. It's made even worse when you find out that this house was lived in by a man who looked to be middle-aged and lived by himself.
Yes, we all get into the midlife crisis, no matter how old we get.
Midlife.
I'll unlock it for you after breakfast if you want to see it.
Sure, why not? And then he just starts digging in, just almost inhaling food.
And Adrian's putting medication in his tea.
And then and Heath is gonna ask, "Are you gonna eat something?
Maybe a little bit. Maybe later.
More from work?"
Alright, and if you guys want, we can fast forward to Heath being shown the room.
Do-do-do-do. So, what is this room about?
You heard the description before, right?
Something about your father lived here, and this was his room, and after you kill him, you seal this room, and that's all I picked up while I was sleepwalking to the kitchen.
Story is wrong. Okay, my father owned this house. He had a vampire living here. The vampire lived in this place, not my dad. My dad lived in Massachusetts with me, or where I live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my dad had some dealings that were not on the up and up. So after we dealt with my dad, I wanted to come here anyway. I always wanted to go to the Pier Land, so we came down here to the house that I owned and took care of the vampire problem. And then we found this. He takes out the key, unlocks the door, hands him the same damn lantern, and says, "Go ahead." Adrian's not looking inside again.
And then Heath is just gonna open the door. It's not even gonna be a slow open, it's just gonna be a slam and open. Just grab the door and slam it open.
And then you hear Izzy from the kitchen, don't break the damn door!
Sorry, ma'am! Now, let's see what is inside. And he peeks inside and sees a bunch of dollars, right? That's what's in the room?
Just hundreds of eyes in the darkness staring at you.
There's a few hundred
Mm-hmm.
life-sized Victorian dolls with the ceramic features, the real human hair, dead lifeless eyes, and they're all dressed differently, but they're all dressed like children. Yeah.
And then Heath is gonna grab the door and he's gonna walk backwards inside and just close the door. And then he's gonna look around. Huh. Vampires have very interesting hobbies. They're so lifelike too.
Heath shut the door?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Should I break the door open? 1, 2, vampires coming for you. 3, 4, don't close that door. Honestly, I have a bunch of those in my house, so Ma has a few of them in the house.
I was just posting that for visual reference for anyone that might not be familiar. So
Hey, Adrian.
Yeah?
Very thick doors. Oh, okay. So it's like, is it very thick doors? So was the vampire a freak with kids or something?
Don't know. Killed him about 10 minutes after we met him.
He had weird taste.
I know.
Kind of a shame, really, honestly. It's such a nice bedroom, I think.
it might be a trick of the light, Heath, but you could have sworn that maybe one of the dolls moved just slightly.
Man. Hey, Adrian!
Mm-hmm.
Can an Umbra Storm come inside a house?
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How big can it get?
It's like asking how big the world is.
Huh. And he goes closer to investigate the doll that started to might have moved or not.
It was just a trick of the light.
Oh.
Because it's I assume it's like a fire lantern.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, those lights kind of like flicker a little bit. So it's like, shadows and stuff. So it was just a trick of the light.
And then Heath goes back, or rather tries to open the door if it's locked or not.
No, he didn't lock it.
Oh, okay. So he opens the door and opens it, and then closes back in. Last little, you big baby, it's just a bunch of dolls. And if I'm cursed, then, oh well, it's not the first time. I mean, look at me now. Didn't expect this, but here we are.
Well, if you're cursed, you're better off than most people that get cursed because you can actually do something about it.
Really?
Of course you can. You're a fucking guru.
Yeah, but I didn't think I could just punch the curse away.
No, but that's what we have Thurges for.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. Her.
The shaman.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have one right now, but
I mean, she's off trained somewhere. So, but we have one, and worst comes to worst, I could use the whatever that is that she gave me for
No.
whatever reason.
don't use that.
I don't even know what it is.
It's called a talon.
Like a bird claw?
Well, it is like a bird call. Not all talons are like bird calls. That particular one just happens to be a bird call.
Huh.
But it might be a one-time use kind of thing, and if they don't like the reason why you're calling them, they might get violent. It's just, if we need the Korax, we'll call the Korax. Until then, let's just not use that. And also, don't tell people you have it.
Well, that part I understood. Not exactly, very renowned. Yeah, we did the whole moot thing yesterday, but I don't think I have enough weight in my name or my lack of title in order to stop them if they ever did find out. Besides, she entrusted me with it, and at the very least I could do is just keep it safe until we needed it.
Yeah, well, she wants you to have it for a reason. I'm not going to question it. That's not a law thing. That's more of the third made a decision thing, so I'm going to stick with that. Best not to question those types. They're weird.
I see.
Hey, maybe not fill a bedroom with dolls weird, but still pretty fucking weird.
So why haven't you destroyed this room?
Because it's easier to just lock it and forget about it. I mean, the only people that live here are me and Izzy. There's 50 fucking bedrooms here. I don't need this one. Better to forget about it.
I see. Hey, Adrian.
Yeah?
Can you ask Izzy to make some apple pie for tonight?
Apple pie?
Apple pie.
Okay.
I better go tell Laszlo that I got ate by the eyes. Hang on, I'll be back.
Alright.
Laszlo! I almost got eaten by a bunch of children!
Does he have to yell every time?
Yes. Goes back into the dining room after locking the door and tucking away the key. Goes back to drinking his tea.
The lizard was too stunned to move.
No, if you guys have anything you want to do, go ahead and do it. I'm going to start working on a kind of a meeting place where we can set up some shrines to specific spirits. And I'm not sure if I should say that.
What is it?
I don't have too terribly much knowledge on the spirits and whatnot, but I've been thinking what spirits that we should appeal to for sponsorship of the pack, what our pack totem would be.
What do you got in mind?
Kind of leaning towards owl.
Don't know if we can do owl with him. And he motions over to Laz.
Why is that?
Well, you see, Monar tribe follows rat. I follow owl. Owls eat rats.
It's not necessarily follow.
Well,
The
you know what
Tribal spirit, like yours, your Silverfang, your spirit is Falcon. He's a Silent Strider. His spirit is Owl. Laz is Bonar. His spirit is Rat. Owls eat rats, but that's the natural way. Doesn't mean Laz is a rat. I'll keep on thinking about it.
I mean, I can't say that I don't agree, but I'm thinking of future interactions with his tribe for one.
Would he be looked down upon if we had now less?
If his pack is actively feeding owls rats, probably yes.
Oh, right.
Because you have to, if you take an owl as a totem, you have to give. What word am I looking for, Adrian? You have to give not boons.
You have to pay homage.
Yeah. And to do that, you have to feed them rats, mice, things owls normally eat.
It's okay, Laz. We will not feed you to the owls.
Yeah, that's another thing we have to think about too. Excuse me.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt.
What would the rat ask for?
That
Adrian would not follow Rat. He couldn't
Why?
do it. Well,
What
they're
is
looked
that?
down upon, for one.
Oh,
They're heavily looked down upon. I mean, even Heath, after a bit, would have a hard time wanting to follow Rat because basically the three of us would have the same standing as Bone Gnars. For any pack that follows Rat, they are looked upon like Bone Gnars.
and that's the bottom of the barrel in this situation, right?
In Guru society, yes.
Just as troublesome.
Now, just because this pack respects Bone Gnars, which they do, I mean, Laz isn't disrespected by the group, doesn't mean that, yeah. It would look bad. It would look bad for both Heath and, well, it would look bad for all three of them. I mean, basically, if you follow Rat, you cannot allow rats to be harmed, which means that our Silent Strider, never kill vermin, rats, mice, or anything like that. Our Silent Strider, who actually has a spiritual owl with him at all times, cannot let it eat vermin.
You want to follow the crow, Laz, or rather make him as our totem spirit? Well, it is a spirit that's not quote unquote connected with any of the four of us.
Incorrect.
Who's he connected to? The
Me.
crow.
Me. The totem of my tribe is Grandfather Thunder. Every single totem that has a tribe, they have a brood. Storm Crow, Crow, Raven, they all fall under Grandfather Thunder. That little tiny spirit, that little tiny crow spirit wouldn't be able to be our tribal or our pack spirit. It wouldn't work.
We'll figure it out. Something's gonna come to us, and I don't know. Sometimes totems just kind of land in your lap.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I will say, as I understand it, at least how it's been explained to me, but it was explained to me in kind of another Werewolf server that I kind of played in for a while, is that how it was explained to me was that any spirit could be like a pack totem spirit. You just have to feed it enough gnosis and it'll grow more powerful over time. So but it might depend on where that spirit falls in like the hierarchy too. So if you wanted to take maybe like one of the mechanical spider spirits as a pack totem for some reason, it would probably have to be a smarter one or a more powerful one where it represents something. You can't brain fart. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, from what I understand, any spirit can be kind of like a pack spirit. It just has to fall under under the brood of another totem spirit. In that Discord server I mentioned, there was one pack that there was a Garu that died and became an ancestor spirit, and one of the players decided to take him as a pack spirit, and they basically looked at the official totem spirits, picked one and decided that this Garu fell under, like, I think it was like the Snow Queen or something, or Winter Wolf. I think it was Winter Wolf, and basically made their own totem spirit.
Well, that's it. All we have to do is kill Heath, turn him into a spirit, and he can become our totem spirit.
Sure, why not? Let me get the knife from the kitchen. I'm
Sure, why not? I'll die for Gaia.
Yeah.
Are we sure we want something that loud?
I almost feel insulted.
Probably not.
Wow. I see that you have very little faith in me.
Yeah, I like the idea of a totem of respect or a totem of wisdom. Personally,
Yeah, just dive the knife a little deeper, why don't you?
well, no, it's
Please, just. Izzy,
we're trying
can you
not.
Can you get me the knife from the kitchen?
Adrian,
what?
No.
Adrian's killing me anyway, so might as well just make it physical.
And here Izzy in the kitchen yelling, "I'm not letting you boys make some suicide pact. I don't care if it's for Gaia or not. You're not dying in my house."
Oh, we do it in the yard.
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's okay, right?
No.
I mean, Izzy says no, so I guess that's out.
No, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to take Owl. I do love the benefits.
So I'm
Unless-
assuming that we can't take a second totem spirit.
Hmm?
So I'm assuming we cannot take a second spirit in after we pick our first one,
No,
or rather the only one, rather.
and we're definitely not going with Raven.
Yeah, it's like you can switch totem spirits, but if you go from one spirit to another, your first spirit's gonna not like you a lot.
So you said something about benefits.
Mm-hmm.
What do we get when we choose a spirit?
Well, I'm looking at Owl right now. So, background cost is 5.
Mm-hmm.
Owl's children gain wings when in the Umbra, allowing them to fly from place to place. They also subtract 2 from difficulties involving stealth or silence and gain 2 points of wisdom renown. Owl's packs often receive premonitions and prophetic dreams that draw them to mystic places long forgotten. The pack gains 3 dice that apply to any gift that involves air, travel, movement, or darkness. Silent striders may appear to aid the pack when it is in danger, but packs that follow Rat and Ratkin are not well disposed towards Owl's Guru. Owl's children must leave small rodents tied and helpless in the woods for him and his kind. So yeah, there'd be a little bit of problem with Laz but the whole thing is technically, even though we're tying mice or rats, we don't have to be rats. They can be mice, and if we leave mice tied out there, it's not going to hurt anything with Laz's
No, but we have to keep in mind that the sept is mostly bone or
yeah, so we don't do rats, we only do mice. Possums.
Is possum a vermin?
yeah, possums,
Mm-hmm.
rabbits too.
Well, we can leave rabbits, baby rabbits.
But
We can get
and it must not kill vermin. Period. It doesn't say mice or rats. It says vermin.
yeah. Well, I
And,
don't want rat.
Well, what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get at is that the sept is mostly bonar, which follow rat for the most part.
We would be kind of at odds with a lot of the sept if we.
Not necessarily. It says packs that follow rat, not the tribe that follows rat.
Oh, I know. That's just what Isaac thinks about. You know,
Yeah.
he's just thinking about.
It's packs that follow rat.
Well,
Yeah, I'll say, like, at least in the other game that I play in for a podcast, the way I played it out, because I play a bonar that is in an owl pack, is I basically used the excuse you gotta do what you can to survive, which kind of falls under Rat's beliefs. So you could use that excuse, or Laz could use that excuse, and I'd say most Bonars would be like, oh, okay, that works. That's fine.
You gotta do what you gotta do to survive.
Yeah.
Plus, owls eat rats. It is the natural way. It's like we're all wolves here. There's not gonna be any vegetarians in the group. You know? Oh, there's just a lot of.
So it's like not everybody in the sept is gonna hate your guts. It's more of a like, oh, okay.
They're the weird guys.
The ones that tie the rats up, the mice out in the woods.
I mean, that is what the ritual asks for.
It's making offerings. This is what Adrian keeps talking about, the place that their meeting place with their shrines and everything. Every time they're there, they just go out to the shrine place and they leave rabbits, rats, mice, whatever they can get their hands on out there for the owls to come eat. They're basically, yeah, it's basically an offering. Basically, we respect you enough to where you're not going to have to hunt for food tonight. We're going to just give it to you. It's an offering to something that's helping us. If that makes sense, Laz. It's being able to fly in the Umbra is awesome. Prophetic dreams might suck though.
I'm trying not to comment because I'm biased in favor of owl, because it's kind of funny that every werewolf game I've played in, I always end up in an owl pack.
I never have. I've never actually even considered owl.
But along with the wings and prophetic dreams, you also, I'm pretty sure you also get a bonus to anything involving stealth.
They subtract 2 from the difficulties involving stealth or silence. That's big.
Or travel, which is even bigger.
I say
I don't see anything about travel. I'm just reading it here. It says owls' children gain wings when in the Umbra, allowing them to fly from place to place. They also subtract 2 from difficulties involving stealth or silence and gain 2 points of wisdom renown.
Okay.
Yeah. Then it goes into the pack traits. They receive premonitions and prophetic dreams that draw them to mystic places long forgotten. The pack gains 3 dice that apply to any gift that involves air, travel, movement, or darkness. There you go.
Like I said, travel.
Yeah. I say we give it a shot. Besides, we're hunters in a way, so we're honestly just doing the same thing and just not tying them up before then. Well, I mean, if you do tie a rabbit up once it's dead and just cook it that way to make sure it doesn't burn.
Well, we don't tie them up. We don't kill them. Owls don't eat dead animals. They only eat what they've killed themselves. So we'd have to leave them living ones. But we would all have to use some kind of an out of character speak here. I don't know how Adrian would explain it, but we would all have to use some experience points to buy the background.
Somewhere well.
The totem background. If the 3 of you were to buy 2, or were to buy 1 dot each, then I would buy 2 and we could have owl.
Yeah, Laz, each of the different totem spirits that a pack can get, they usually have individual benefits, and then the benefits you get as a group, and then there's usually some sort of ban or form of behavior that the spirit wants you to follow. A raven, for example, doesn't want you to carry any wealth. Raven packs trust Raven to provide for them.
I could never be a raven.
Yeah, Heath and Adrian are like, nope, fuck
We are not.
that.
I'm not giving.
I love money.
Unicorn packs have to protect and aid the weak and exploited as long as they do not aid the worm in doing so. And
He's not at his keyboard right now. He had to go BRB.
Okay.
I'll be right back myself.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different totem spirits, and they have their packs follow different behaviors based on what they as a spirit believe in. Like bear doesn't ask for anything specific, because there are bear shape changers like were-bears, and Garu that follow bear take a loss to their renown.
A loss?
Yeah, so basically in the setting, actually I think in the year that we're doing things, not too long ago there was a war between the Garu and other shapeshifters, and the Garu killed a lot of shapeshifters and did a lot of bad things. And the Garu, like Bear, Bear is the patron of all the shape changers that can turn into bears. So so the werewolves don't really like Bear that much, but any Garu that take up Bear, they take a hit to their renown, because I guess technically they're choosing a totem spirit of another shape changer.
You're fraternizing with the enemy.
Yeah, basically. And werebears don't really have a lot of positive feelings about the Garu, because the Garu started it and killed a lot of them. Like a lot of other shape changers are nearly extinct.
Hell, boar and bat are extinct because of the Guru. Actually, there's not even bat spirits anymore because of the Guru. Or it's assumed that there's no more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the boar became so pissed at what happened, they turned to the worm or warthogs. Well, I guess boar and warthogs are kind of the same thing. So yeah, werewolves kind of pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Man.
And in a more like present day modern setting, there's actually a group of shadow lords that are trying to redeem Bat as a spirit, and that's a whole fun thing.
Yeah,
because they're trying to make up for the mistakes of the past.
Yeah, they thought that Bat, just because the way it looked and the fact that the Zemitsi, which is a clan of vampires, they can turn into something that looks like a bat. So when they saw the bat changes, they thought that they were part of the worm and just started destroying them.
The bat changers also live off of drinking blood like the vampires.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. Yeah, you can blame the Shadow Lords.
I'd say why not? It's a compromise of
Well, I've also noticed that none of our pack members are all that martial. We're not the most kick-ass group on the planet. So
we're not really, not even close.
After a bit, I think that we're going to find that sneaking around is going to be our bread and butter. And when we get, subtract 2 difficulties involving stealth and silence, it's really going to help us out.
Oh, yeah. A friend that I play with, that I met on this Discord server that I mentioned, I was playing it. I played a Silent Strider Thurge, and she played a Silent Strider Ragabash, and our characters were in the same Owl pack together, and with the bonuses from Owl and her being a Ragabash and also being in lupus form, if I remember right, she had like at least 10 or 12 dice in her dice pool for stealth checks, on top of her other gifts and stuff that make her even harder to detect. And Owl lowers the stealth difficulty to, I think, 4, and then
minus 2. Yeah,
minus 2, so 4, and then I'm trying to remember if lupus form also has affects that too. I think I'm thinking of perception checks.
Well, a lupus form is going to give you
Oh yeah, lupus form is going to give you like +2 dexterity. If I remember right, she had like 12 or 14 dice in anything involving stealth.
Yeah. And then there's the other aspects that Adrian was looking at, which is the The pack gains 3 dice that apply to any gift that involves air, travel, movement, or darkness. All of the Shadow Lord gifts involve darkness. Some of them involve movement, and most of them involve air and storms of one sort or another. Welcome back, Laz. So yeah, go ahead.
It sounds like you guys are leaning towards Owl pretty hard. But Laz and Zest, if you guys want like a list of totem spirits to consider, I can write up a list of them that are in the core book. I'm actually looking at the page, but
I mean, for me, his owl is fine because character-wise, my totem is or my spirit is a falcon, so
yeah,
it doesn't affect me much. But I would like to see what kind of spirits they choose just for personal reference. But yeah, I'm fine with the owl. I don't give a hoot about it.
While you were gone, sorry, I had an Adrian moment. While you were gone, Laz, it was brought up that if Laz feels that feeding rats to owls is going a little bit too far against his tribe, the entire pack can make an oath to Laz, saying we can find enough rats, possums, and rabbits, possums, and mice that we never have to feed rats to the owls. We don't have to leave them rats specifically. We can find other vermin. I mean, it's just got to be vermin.
I don't think my character has any firm stance on it beyond the bits he was taught. Yeah, so like for reference, Laz, like Laz would have been taught that there's multiple aspects to rat. The sept specifically is more, I guess you could say, more community based. Because rat is a war totem, but the sept kind of follows an aspect of rat that's more about community helping, like helping others in need, like helping the group. But he would have been taught like rat also is a very like hit and run guerrilla fighter. They fight to the last person standing, but they also protect their own. And they also do whatever they can to survive. So I'd say it might be a fun thing to think about for Laz to consider. Since we're probably not going to be doing the totem thing right away. I'm sure this is not going to be the first discussion on like the pack totem for the group. But Bonars are the vibe I get as far as Bonars go is that they're pretty laid back unless you start pushing them around. So Laz could say, Owl offers abilities that would help Laz and his pack survive, and that's just the sacrifice he has to make, even if other Bonars might not like his choice, they'll respect it. As long as he doesn't say, yeah, rat sucks, then Laz will be okay.
None of them are saying that.
Rats are not Coolsville.
Now, it's something to think about. Has anybody thought of a pack name at all?
I remember it. I remember something along the lines of like, was it the Blood Moon Furies being brought up?
It was Blood Moon something.
Blood Moon's Fury.
Oh, Blood Moon's Fury being brought up as a pack name.
Or Blood Moon's Vengeance. I wasn't sure. That was all Adrian had.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, when you're standing there staring at a great big red moon, you think Blood Moon all day long.
I mean, it fits.
I mean, it's kind of one of those things where maybe it's a sign of something that's coming, but maybe it's not actually a sign of anything until you reach out, grab it, and say, this is my sign and it means this, that kind of deal, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it happened the day the pack came home. The day the pack came home, they had that blood moon. So from there, it's the pack's choice to either stay together and take their sign, or take it as a sign that they shouldn't be together anymore and they disband. I don't really think we should disband. That would suck.
I wouldn't take it as a sign to disband.
No, I'd take it as a sign that we should stick together and be awesome.
Yeah.
And if anybody needs to talk shit about a totem, they can talk shit about Fenris. Or Falcon. I don't care.
Fenris.
Fenris is just a great big wolf. It would be the wolf that kills Odin in the end, and is usually the patron spirit of the Geta Fenris.
Oh yeah, I don't think you guys have come across any Geta Fenris Garu yet. There is one on the Sept, the warder, and she's in charge of the Sept's defenses. Yeah, Get of Fenris.
Yeah, it's a tribe. They're the Norwegian werewolves, rather violent group.
They're like Vikings. They're the ones that have a ritual dedicated to sending their elderly Garu off to fight some impossible battle so that they die, rather than letting themselves be, in their eyes, a burden. They're pretty hardcore.
Oh, if we took Fenris as our pack totem, our ban would be Fenris's children must never pass up an opportunity for a worthy fight. In other words, we can't back away from a fight even though we know we're going to lose. I don't like that one.
I don't think it's in the core book, but I know there's a totem for a badger that's like, you'd never back down from a fight ever. Which is probably even worse.
Fucking badgers. Go to the creek. There was nothing in there, you big baby.
You think? You never know. Shadow Lord might keep a vampire on hand.
I was half expecting you, Mish, to say that Adrian keeps a vampire chained up in there.
The thought might cross his mind, but no, he doesn't trust them enough. Not when he has to leave the house and he has Izzy and the other kinfolk around. When little kids come to his house and shit like that. So, yeah.
Anyway, so we can keep talking about totem spirits another time.
Yeah.
There's
we'll
stuff
get
I
back
want to do.
later.
Yeah.
Okay. So after breakfast, they all can go on their own way. Adrian tells Izzy that there was a request for apple pie with dinner. So he's probably going to have to go to the store and buy apples and shit, but he can make that happen.
Izzy's going to ask you to pick up some apples later. Or she could ask one of the other kinfolk to do it.
Hell no, they're getting out in the fields and getting their asses to work.
No slacking on the job.
Sun's up, you're going to work. I pay a good wage. I expect it to be done.
Alright, in that case, Izzy is going to expect you to bring back some apples.
That can be done. Isaac, go get apples.
Consider it done. Isaac
You
again.
want to run that by me again?
Yes. Isaac, you're the second in command. I'm telling you to delegate the job of going to get the fucking apples for the guy that wants the apple pie. Tell Heath to go get the goddamn apples.
Why couldn't you tell him that?
Because I'm delegating.
Seems an awful waste of words.
I mean, you can tell Laz to delegate to Heath if you want. I mean, we can make it go all the way around.
I will never understand you. Heath, go get some apples.
I was half
You
expecting
want the pie.
I was half expecting you to tell Laz, so he can tell me, and then I could tell Adrian.
I'm not going to waste my time to do that.
Adrian, because
I
Isaac
will shoot your dick off.
Because Isaac told me to get apples. I look at apples. And so he just turns around and just starts heading to the market.
Okay. So I think I'll go around in order from bottom to top on my end of looking in the VC, and we'll say this probably vaguely takes place over the course of the 3 days, unless there's something specific that everybody wants to do. So we'll start with we'll start with Heath.
Okay.
So we'll say, like, yeah, you head out to the market to get apples. You also had the advice that that your cousin Hans gave you about meditating to deal with your copious amounts of rage as an Arun. The sept doesn't really have a very strong Silverfang presence, but you could probably go to other Aruns to seek out advice on how to meditate and kind of bring yourself closer to Gaia if that's something you want to pursue.
Yeah, because I don't want to bite someone's stick off.
But yeah, so we'll say while you're getting apples, you ask around. You find out that Hans and his pack are out on sept business. But you do hear from one of the, we'll say it's one of the Bonars that there is a Lupus Arun on the poor side of the city, actually in one of the Asian communities. His name is Howling Prayer, or rather the short form of his name is Howling Prayer, and he is a stargazer, which is another tribe. And you hear from this Bonar that Howling Prayer could probably give you a few pointers, and he says something along the lines of stargazers being all about meditation and inward introspection and all sorts of philosophical stuff.
He's just gonna nod and just smile like, okay, I'll go. What's the worst that can happen? So I go bite the apples and keep them in a little baggie, and then I head up to the Chinatown district that in Saint Denis, try to find a holding prayer or howling prayer. Sorry, howling prayer. So I look around and see to his. He has a shop, right? You said it.
He
Or is it a house?
he has a small house. It's not too hard to find him. You just ask you ask around a little bit, and eventually someone points you in the right direction. We'll say that you were told that his Americanized name is Thomas.
Okay.
And so you find Thomas. He has a small house in the Chinatown district, and we'll say you introduce yourself, and he says it's nice to meet you, Heath. You can call me Thomas. My full, or Howling Prayer. My full deed name is. Let me look it up really quick. I thought I had it. Oh yeah. So he says they call me Howling Prayer, but my full deed name is Howling Prayer atop the mountain's peak. And he pauses for a moment and says, "You can just call me Thomas or Howling Prayer, whichever is your preference. I know that it's a mouthful."
All right, Howling Prayer. Look, the reason I came here is because I have a little bit of an anger issue, and I'd rather not try to take it out on the rest of my pack. And they keep asking me if I'm okay, and like, telling them, yeah. Look, the point is, my cousin told me that I need to learn how to meditate in order to control the anger. It doesn't help that we had a full moon, even if it was a red one, not too long ago. So, what can you tell me to learn to calm down, at least enough, so I don't try to bite someone's head off?
And Howling Prayer nods as you talk, and he says, "Well, I'm not a Silver Fang. My tribe, the Stargazers, we have our own belief system that allows us to find balance within ourselves. We call it the five minds, and we pursue a state of enlightenment that is called Gaia Dharma. I cannot teach you how to reach this enlightenment because you are not a stargazer. However, I do have a place where you are welcome to come by anytime so that you may meditate and center yourself. And he motions for you to follow as he stands up and moves towards the back of his house. And he opens a sliding door into this small garden, this rock garden. And it's a very, like, despite the noise of the city and the proximity of the Chinatown, despite the proximity of the Chinatown district to the docks, in this small enclosed garden, it's quiet. It's quiet in a serene sense. There's a small stream, like a flow of water that flows through this garden and into a small pond, and there's maybe some sort of pipe or water pressure system behind the scenes that's letting the water flow continuously. And there's this flat rock where he invites you to take a seat.
And so he does take a seat and just looks around and is like, how is it so quiet? Is it a stargazer thing?
And he pauses for a moment and he says, I pulled my kinfolk were able to help me build this garden. And he shifts into his lupus form and he says, I was born on 4 legs. I followed my kinfolk here from China. I'm not very familiar with your man-made structures and buildings, but this is my own small pocket of peace. And
you built yourself a good thing.
And he says, so sit and focus on clearing your mind first of your immediate concerns. Clear your mind of thought. I've heard that you are still learning, that you're still on your rite of passage. So this will take some time to perfect, but with practice, you will learn to clear your mind and focus on your inner self to find that peace within you.
Okay. And he does as he's told and takes a long, deep breath. Can I do this anywhere outside the city? I'm going to be traveling a lot, you see.
You can do this anywhere. It is just in this place, there won't be any distractions. And so I will remove myself so that there are no distractions.
Okay. Thank you.
And he gives a nod and says, you're welcome. And then he steps out of the garden and closes the door. And to represent Heath learning how to meditate, let's do a gnosis roll for shits and giggles. So that's just going to be 1d10.
1d10. All right,
Yes.
Let's see. 1d10. 10.
All right. So I wasn't expecting that. So
Honestly, I wasn't either. I thought I was going to get like a 1.
all right. So you find yourself clearing your mind surprisingly quickly. It takes a little bit, but within an hour you remove your immediate concerns, you start clearing your mind of thought, and you focus on yourself, you focus on the natural sound of the artificial stream that's flowing through the garden. You focus on this connection that you're supposed to have to the natural world and Gaia, and you find it. And so as a result, I'll go ahead and allow you to, if you so choose, to lower your rage by half, rounded down. So I'd say, like, you can lower your rage down to, I'd say, 2 or 3 points if you so choose.
Yeah. It'd be the top one, right?
It would be the bottom.
Okay, bottom's the one, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
Since he figured that we they wouldn't leave for a few days,
Mhm.
and no, hopefully there's no fighting. He can calm down completely.
Yeah, we'll say you managed to do this, I'd say within an hour or two. And when you're finished, or you feel like you're finished, you feel a lot more calm, you feel a little more at ease. You don't feel as on edge as you usually do.
Yes, this actually will work. Better thank the old guy. And Heath picks up his 2 big bags of apples, and he goes back inside the building. And he says, "Highland prayer. I think I'm finished for today. Thank you. I really needed this. Hopefully now I don't. Hopefully the normal people don't try to kind of cower away just from looking at me."
And Howling Prayer, he's back in his Hamid form, his human form, and he gives you a smile and he says, I'm glad that I was able to help you a little bit. You're welcome to come by anytime. I cannot offer myself as a teacher, but you may feel free to use my garden as you wish.
I'll take you up on that offer. Thanks. I'll see some way to repay you and your kin at some point. It is only fair, after all.
Well, come by another time, and I may have a task or two for you.
And he breaks into a smile and nods, and he begins to head home so he can give these apples to Izzy after a few hours of being out and about.
Okay. All right. So Isaac.
Yeah.
So normally after the end of October, normally after that night where the veil between the living and the dead is weakened, normally things are relatively more peaceful, but you find that if you find yourself in Saint Denis or in the area, you find that you still see quite a few ghosts and spirits wandering the streets. And while you're either running errands or even just hanging out with Adrian or visiting your family, there is one ghost that seems to be following you around.
No matter where he goes, huh?
Kind of, sort of.
It pretty much seems like that nobody else was really noticing them, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since it would take Heath seemingly a couple of hours to get the apples and, for dinner to even get started since they just had breakfast, yeah, he probably would have gone out and just checked things out a bit to make sure that, there's no more dead walking around and whatnot. After being followed by that one for, I don't know, maybe about 45 minutes, he finally just kind of goes off into an alleyway where he's not going to be seen as insane and talking to himself. He stops and leans against the wall, lights a cigarette. What do you want?
And the ghost, as they approach, you see that he's dressed in a Union Army uniform, and it's this black soldier, and you can see the gunshot wound that probably killed him. It's a hole in his leg, and he looks like he has a bit of a limp, even in death. And he says, "Well, I noticed that you seem to be the only person around here that can see me. I wanted to ask you a favor, since I know this is around the time of year where the veils are thin."
Favor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, if it's in my capability, then I can probably help you.
And the soldier says, I have a son. And he reaches into his coat and he pulls out a small, like a pocket watch. And it looks like the front of it has a dent in it where it looks like the metal somehow stopped a bullet. Actually, let me start over.
So sorry if you cat.
It's okay. he reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out a pocket watch, and he says, before I left to go to war, I promised my son that he would have this watch when I came back, but I died before that could happen." And he pauses for a moment and he says, ironically enough, I died on the last day of the war." And he gives like a kind of like a dark humor chuckle at that. But I've been trying to find anybody to bring this watch to him. It's important to me, and I want to be able to watch over him. It's been a few decades, but I've been trying to find him.
Decade. And you're assuming that he's still here in Saint Denis.
Well,
or alive, for that matter.
I don't know how to describe it, but it's a feeling that he's alive.
Fair enough.
Not in Saint Denis. I died in the battle for Saint Denis, but I've been breaking some rules over on our side, and I hear that he's a rancher over in Valentine, or on a ranch somewhere near there.
Valentine. Alright. So, whereabouts did you die? So I'm sure I'm gonna have to dig up that watch.
I was actually gonna have him hand you the watch.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll work too.
I don't know how. I'm not familiar 100% with how ghosts work in the World of Darkness, but I was actually gonna have him hand you the watch. Yeah.
I mean, it can work that way.
Okay.
He was just assuming that you have on you whatever you died with, and the item is typically still back with your body. That's
okay.
what he would assume. But,
Okay, I gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, you ask him where he died, and he just puts the pocket watch in your hand.
Well, that makes things a little easier.
I reckon so. From what I've heard on our side, last night was very special, very one of a kind and unusual.
As he's looking at the watch, the actual physical watch, he says, "Yeah, a lot of strange things have been happening. It's probably going to keep happening too. But yeah, I could try to find him and give this to him. But who are you? Who am I looking for?"
Give me just 1 second as I grab a name really quick.
The DM's Bane.
No, it's just something I haven't gotten around to.
Nah, all good.
It's not DM's Bane, it's just me being lazy.
Could be worse. Could come up and say, "I named my son Isaac Freeman. Go find him."
Wouldn't that be ironic?
Son of a bitch.
And then Isaac would be like, "Wait, I'm adopted?"
What the fuck? It actually wouldn't surprise him, to be honest. Yeah, Savage Traders are a weird bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that makes it easy. Found him. Quest accomplished.
But yeah, the soldier, the ghost soldier, says his son's name is Clinton, and he gives you a general description, but the description is like 30 years out of date.
Yeah.
But yeah, the son's name is Clinton, and he lives possibly somewhere around Valentine.
So, I'm going to be looking for who you describe, but order. Alright. I think I can pull that off. Last name? Possibly. All I need is a name.
Let's say his name is Clinton Lott.
So yeah, he keeps that name in mind as somebody to hunt down. Now, you said you were fighting for Saint Denis.
No, we were fighting to take Saint Denis.
To take Saint Denis. Oh, good luck on that one. Well, I can see how the luck went, but you didn't happen to say something about retiring, did you?
No, not that I recall. Just
thinking of the irony.
Well, I did mention that day that I was looking forward to seeing my family again, so.
Yep, that'll do it. Tell you what, I will do this for a favor in return later. Nothing big, if you're even going to be here, but I'm pretty sure I can find you if I really needed to.
Oh, my name's Russell Lott. Well, not sure how long I'll be easy to find, but I'm sure if you take a trip down to our neck of the woods, so to speak, you could probably find me.
One of these days. But I'll keep that in mind, Russell.
I wouldn't start reading any long novels.
Yeah, and Russell, he nods and says, well, thank you for doing this for me. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure my son will appreciate having that watch after 30 years.
If he doesn't shoot me on sight. Never know with people nowadays.
Yes, I suppose he's probably changed over the years from how I remember him. But you travel safe. Be careful out there.
He nods, tipping his hat down a bit. Goes back to smoking his cigarette and pockets the watch for now.
And Russell starts to walk away, and then he pauses for a moment, stops, and turns around and says, "Oh, don't go near roads."
I'm not planning to. Too many white folk for my taste.
And he gives a nod and goes back on his way. And
yeah, Isaac stays in the alley for a bit.
And you see Russell kind of disappear into the crowd.
Man, I hate that shit. And after about maybe 10 more minutes, he heads out of the alley and starts to head back to Adrian's place to let him know that we have a side quest. Or at least Isaac has a side quest.
All Adrian has to say about that is, was the guy a guru? Well, I don't know. I don't give a shit about him then. Fuck his son. Take the watch and pawn it.
Isaac definitely wasn't going to do that.
It's probably best not to do that. If he's a ghost that can actually move a watch, maybe we should probably return it to his son.
Well, you're not the one that's going to have to deal with him if he decides to haunt me. So, that's what I got to think about.
Yeah, but I got to deal with you, and then I'd have to deal with you being haunted, so it would be my problem.
Fair enough.
The chain hunt.
Which is why I give you things to tell other people to do. It's just part of the problem you got to deal with.
Delegate.
Adrian, you might as well just say shit rolls downhill and call it that.
Good
Let's
to be on
honest with
top.
each other.
It is good to be on top.
Oh, brother.
Mhm. And Isaac just gives him a look and walks off.
More stuff to do.
Yeah, and then if I remember right, Adrian wanted to learn how to do spirit speech.
Yeah, he'd just borrow Gabe's owl, but that would probably be at night after he realizes that the blood moon's coming back night after night.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, we're going to have to go out and do this. I don't have a third, so fuck it.
Yeah,
You know.
we can say that it takes place on the night of the first day, and you see that the blood moon is still there. It's the same. It's the same. Well, it's still that bright red, but it's not as bright as it was last night. So it's kind of like
So when they see it's not as bright, which is good, but when he sees that it's still there, it definitely not going to have Isaac go to the Umbra, but he's going to go to the Umbra and take a look at the moon there with the, colors being different in the Umbra. He can get a better idea of exactly what's going on. Not that he's a third and will know completely, but they might have to go to the Sept again.
And in the Umbra, you can see that colors in the Umbra are different, but even here, a little bit outside the city, you can still see like the spider webs that kind of connect the buildings of Saint Denis together, and the vague shapes of the larger weaver spirits, the larger mechanical spiders, as they kind of patrol over the rooftops.
Yeah.
And keep order. You can see the moon is still that red color, and it even seems to shimmer a little bit, as if you're looking at a pool of water.
Yeah, he's gonna have to. All right. Oh, is it my turn for a
Oh yes.
thing? I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't. I couldn't think of anything specific, but I figured we were gonna just wing it and roll with whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, seeing the moon do that, I mean, I don't know how you do spirit speech. Usually it's just, it says in the book, any spirit can teach it. So basically, if you get a spirit that's willing to do it, it just touches you and you know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Yeah, so he's just gonna ask Isaac's owl to do it.
Okay.
So I need to learn it. Can you just teach me how to do it, damn it? So I can talk to you too. That kind of thing. Then it doesn't have to be the whole pack, but before they go out drinking or whatever after dinner, or even they'll ride out. Izzy will go with them too. She likes drinking and dancing. Once they get to the place with the bar, Adrian's gonna break off. Maybe take Isaac with him if Isaac wants to go, but he wants to go find Moon's Shadow again, the Shadow Lord Third Elder. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the master of the right, so she's not gonna be hard to find. She's gonna be on Sept grounds.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I'd say either at the Rising Sun or probably at her house in the city.
They'd check the Rising Sun first, and if she's not there, then they'll just they'll look for her in the Rising Sun, her house, the cairn. If she doesn't want to be found, she doesn't want to be found. I mean, if she's in the Umbra, they're not going to bother her. But yeah, if they can find her, he wants to ask her a few more questions.
Yeah, we'll say you track her down to her house. And Isaac's owl spirit companion will teach you spirit speech.
Awesome.
He probably hoots like a little smartass about it, but
100%.
If he does it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm imagining the owl spirit lets Isaac know that Adrian wants to learn how to talk to spirits, and then probably plays coy a little bit, like he doesn't understand Adrian, and then maybe after like a little bit of a gnosis bribe, he teaches him.
Yeah, he'll give the gnosis.
Just a note.
I was gonna have him be.
Actually goes to Isaac.
I was just gonna have him be mean about it, but that's fine. He can do it. The owl doesn't want to play Shadow Lord games. Yeah. So then he's gonna go to Mary's house, and if Heath left any pie, then he's gonna take a piece of pie to her too, just so she can have fresh apple pie. You gotta bribe your elders. But yeah, he goes up to her house and he knocks on the door and he waits.
And she answers the door, and she's up and awake at this hour, and she says, "Oh, little shadow, oh, and last laugh, please come in." And she invites you to have dinner with her family.
Oh, he takes his hat off and comes in. This is no thank you for the dinner. We already ate before we came into the city. He offers her some pie and says, I just had some questions I wanted to bring up.
And she nods and says, "All right, let's step into my office."
Sure. I apologize for interrupting your dinner.
Oh no, it's fine. We were actually almost finished. And she says, I assume it's business, so business is important.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it is. So he follows her. If he sees her family, he offers them a wave and a smile as he goes off into the office with her.
And she has a husband and 2 kids, and they nod respectfully.
Oh, they probably know him by now. And
oh yeah.
Shadow Lords probably all stick together. All right. Once they're in the office and the door's closed, he says, "Okay, so I'm sure you've noticed by now that the moon is still red, and that it looks like shimmering water when you look at it through the umbra. It's not just red; it's shimmering."
And Mary adds, almost as if it was a pool of water or a lake.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a Thurge. I don't know what it means.
Well, it could mean many things. I've been talking to some of the other Thurges, the Black Furies, the Bonars, even one of the Iron Riders, and the other Thurges seem to agree that it could be a sign that the Umbra is damaged, probably in a very literal sense, bleeding. I don't know if that wound is Luna specifically, or if it's perhaps a reflection of somewhere else. But the Umbra storm yesterday is a sign, not a good sign.
No.
It means that the storm eater is moving east. I've heard stories of it being sighted as far as California and as close as Texas. It travels erratically, randomly, without direction, but it seems to be moving more eastward, and that worries me.
Yeah. All right. The pack. I guess you should know we're sticking together. We're going to go ahead and make a go of this.
And she nods.
And we're going to stick around a couple days to make sure that the dead stay where they're supposed to be. I don't want to leave the city. Not to say that the poaching isn't important, but I don't want to leave the Sept without an extra pack in case something really bad is going on. The poachers can wait a little bit. We are going to go out and do that. And I'm thinking we might name the pack after the blood moon, so maybe we'll just turn this into a sign of something good.
Well, I believe soon enough we're going to be looking for every scrap of good news that we can find. I don't know if you've traveled very far west, but where the storm eater has gone, where it has weakened the Umbra as a whole, there are strange creatures that cross over, that of spirits merging together. Not Fomori per se. They aren't of the worm, but they take aspects of both the Wyld and the Weaver, and they are chaotic.
Now, I've heard rumor, I've never seen the storm, of course, but I've heard rumor that it is a mixture of Gaian and Weaver, isn't it?
The Storm Eater, it was originally a very powerful bane, and since the arrival of the European tribes to the Pure Lands, it was released, and it has been merging with the Wyld and the Weaver. It's a combination of the triad, and from the stories that I've heard, it is massive beyond comprehension. So
well, we haven't seen it yet, but when we start to travel again in a couple of days, it might.
Well, you will know it when you see it.
Hopefully, we don't see it soon, but we're thinking about going to places where it has been to see what is out there. But
well, just
how close is there any place you can think of close by that it might have come through, that we can go see what's going on over by there, even though it's not there anymore? I know it sounds crazy, but did the storm ever get close to Valentine?
I haven't heard anything strange about Valentine. I know closer to Texas, along the Mexican border, there's a small town by the name of Tumbleweed. As I recall, it used to be a native sept, but a group of Garu tried to take it over, and they lost so much of their pack that they've been struggling to keep a hold on it. They've somehow convinced the original sept spirit to stay, and it has been not making it easy for them. I've also heard stories of alleged spiral dancers, Fomori, and other dangers over that way. So there might be some glory in it for you if you want to offer them some assistance. But knowing you, and she smiles, she gives a little smirk, and she says, knowing you, I think you might want to leave them to the consequences of their decisions.
Sometimes, yeah, I would think that way, but I can't take any action or inaction that would cause land to fall to the worm. You know that.
And she nods, and she says, and I'm sure you don't want to pass up the chance of glory either.
Well, hard to pass up glory when it's handed to you. All right. All right, we're going to be around a few more days. If you need us for anything, you can. We're all staying at the plantation, so we can be reached there if you need anything. Other than that, we'll get out of your hair, let you finish dinner, and I'll probably check in one more time before we leave, the night before we leave, because we're probably going to leave at dawn.
And Mary nods and she says, "All right. Yeah, if you want to hear more stories about if you want to hear stories about the West, I'm sure Margaret has a few stories. She took the pack to the West before settling here in the Sept.
I might look her up and check out some stories tomorrow. See what we can learn. It's better to get as much information as possible before just running off.
Yeah, information is a very, very valuable tool and weapon."
Oh, yes. All right. Thank you, Ryan. Enjoy the rest of your supper, and we'll see you again before we leave.
And she nods and she says, "And you enjoy the rest of your evening."
Oh, well. I'll try.
And she'll walk you to the door and send you on your way.
Okay. So they go back, meet up with the guys, drink a little bit, listen to music, dance, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Go home. Go back to work. But mainly what they're doing there is staying at the city to make sure that nothing else is going on with another storm or anything before they leave. And of course get a chance to rest up a little bit before they all head out to kick some ass. Or more likely get their asses kicked.
Well,
Yes.
either is possible. All right, and then Laz. So, Laz, what would you like to be up to? Is there anything that Laz wants to do, or does he have people that he wants to see? You wanted a refresher on Spiral Dancers? Yeah. So, yeah, we could say you. Well, you can. I'd say you can meet up with Myrtle, or you could go to Adrian and ask about Spiral Dancers. Yeah, I already asked Adrian a lot of stuff. Okay. Yeah, so we'll say you probably over the course of the 3 days, as you're probably hanging out either just in the city in general with the pack, or just kind of out on your own, kind of performing or associating with the kinfolk. You do come across Myrtle and probably one or two other members of her pack. They tend to stay pretty close to the Sept. And you ask Myrtle about Spiral Dancers. And takes Myrtle a moment to kind of gather her thoughts. But she says, "Well, black Spiral Dancers are Garu that choose to fall to the worm. Originally, they were a tribe from Scotland called the White Howlers, but they fell into a trap. They were lured into Malpheus. It's basically the realm in the Umbra that belongs to the worm. It's a very dangerous place. They were lured into Malpheus and they were corrupted into Spiral Dancers. And well, any Garu can become a Spiral Dancer. They could, and any Garu could fall for any number of reasons. They could lose their pack, or they could have some sort of internal struggle within themselves that draws them away from other people. And Myrtle pauses for a moment, and then she continues, and she says, "That's why being in a pack is so important. That's you have other people that you can rely on and that you can share things with. And this war that we fight is not easy, and well, fighting a Spiral Dancer is like fighting another. It's like fighting a friend. It's like fighting someone that knows all of your weaknesses. They know our howls. They know our gifts. I mean, a Spiral Dancer can come from any tribe and fall. The biggest thing to remember, Laz, is that they choose to become Spiral Dancers. Nobody ever forces them to, though they might believe that they were forced to. It's always a choice, and might say things that seem like they make sense, but basically if a spiral dancer ever tells you something, Laz, don't believe them. And Myrtle adds, in fact, if you ever come across a spiral dancer, just kill them, no questions asked. They some of them, they look different from normal wolves. I'm sure you'll probably know one when you see one, but they are, you can't negotiate with them. It's, if given the choice, it's better to die fighting them than to be taken hostage. I will say that much. The stories I've heard of kinfolk in Garu being taken prisoner by the spirals, it's not for the faint of heart. Like, we fight to save Gaia. They believe they've already won. And Myrtle adds, I suppose that's spiral dancers in a nutshell, more or less. I guess the other thing I had in mind was to hang around Isaac a little bit. Okay. I suppose in general I'd hover around everyone each throughout the days. Okay. So just spending time with the pack, just in general. Okay. We'll say probably the next day, or maybe even the third day. Laz, while you're spending some time with Heath, the two of you are stopped by one of the Bonar kinfolk that you know, Laz, and we'll say their name is we'll say his name is Fred. So Fred waves the two of you down, and he says, "Hey, Laz."
You know him, Laz?
Laz says, "Oh, hey." And Fred, he says, "Hey, Laz, so I just wanted to let you know I've been hearing on the street that there's somebody offering some of the homeless some weird jobs. It just seemed a little off to me, but it seems like somebody's hiring the homeless and some of the other kinfolk that don't know about, they've been hiring folk they've been hiring folk to basically go around some of the small family-owned businesses and, well, I guess not scare people away, but I guess the word would be discourage them from shopping there. They just hire homeless people to sit around outside of small family-owned stores. It's a little strange, but I think somebody's trying to force the small general stores and bars out of business.
Do you have any idea where to start it?
And Fred pauses for a moment and says, "Well, I heard it started in the poorer side of town. A few of the family-owned stores over there have been losing customers because the beggars have been moving over there. I did some asking around. They say that some fella in a fancy suit gave them $10 and said go sit outside this place for a day and come back tomorrow for more money and more work. I mean, I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I know some of the folk that run these stores, and they're not bad people. Yeah, I've been hearing. Well, yeah, it is really strange. Yeah, it is a strange thing," Fred says, and he adds, it seemed unusual to me, so I thought I'd let one of you folks know, and I don't know. Myrtle asked me to keep an eye out for anything strange, and this seemed to be it. And Laz says, "Definitely something to look into. Appreciate it." And Fred nods, and he says, "Of course. Anything I can do to help the community. We gotta stick together."
Well, this is interesting. Do you want to investigate, Laz? Or shall we tell the others first? I figure Adrian will be interested at least.
What time is it? I'd say it's around midday. we'll say it takes place during the second day, so you do have time to find Adrian and Isaac.
We have time, Lazaro. They're probably back at the estate. Go yell for them, Heath. Why is everybody fucking saying something about yelling? Jesus Christ! It's not like they're fucking. And he just drags Laz with him back to the estate to see if we can find the others. I'm like, I swear, it's not like. It feels like they haven't heard a fucking loud voice before.
Alright, so what are Adrian and Isaac up to during the second day?
Adrian's out in the back of the plantation working outdoors, kind of near the swamp.
As much as Isaac would want to go off and head to Valentine to give that watch over, he'd stick around the place, mostly just either helping Adrian out or hanging with one of the other two if they happen to be around.
Okay.
Of course, always tending to the horses, as he doesn't like when other people tend to his horse in particular.
Now, I'll say it's not too long after Laz and Heath have their brief encounter with the kinfolk. They head back to the estate, and you can see the two of them approaching.
He just kind of gives a nod to him. Let's see, he's probably brushing down his horse or something.
Mm-hmm.
After taking her for a ride. Yeah, he gives him a nod upon seeing them again.
Alright, let's make another thought. Where's Adrian?
He's round back, probably playing with the gators.
Anyway, we have something that he probably should know. So.
Was another ghost, was it?
A ghost?
Never mind.
And he looks at Laz. Are you sure that your friend was alive? We weren't talking to a ghost, were we?
Laz says, yes, I am very sure he was a real.
Then no, we weren't talking to any ghosts. But
Ghosts are real.
we should probably go find Adrian and tell him about what one of Laz's friends told us.
I'll show you where he is. So he'll lead them back to where he saw Adrian last.
There's a trail behind the fields, kind of winds into like the foresty area, the swampy area. There's an area back there that's not too far away, but it's well hidden. It's just kind of like a little island, I guess, a raised portion of land that he's cleared out. That he's just clearing it out and gonna set up shrines there and everything. So he's just working normal work stuff till they come by.
Okay.
Adrian!
What?
We got news. Kinda.
All right, what's going on?
Well, apparently someone's paying the homeless and the like to basically mooch around business areas, drive the poor with the poor. And I don't know how much business you have here in Saint Denis, but it probably will be good for your businesses as well. So a lot of homeless and a lot of kinfolk who are not have a lot of resources are being paid to just lounge around in small owned businesses.
Let me get this right. Somebody's paying homeless people to loiter in front of small businesses?
Yeah, apparently they're paying them $10 a day.
$10 a day?
I guess so.
And Laz says, yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
I mean, $10 seems a lot. I would probably do it for like $2. But anyway, that doesn't matter right now. I'm not sure if this adds to the mystery within Saint Denis or not, but yeah, there's someone trying to destroy businesses around the area.
You guys want to go start some shit?
You mean a
Sure,
Bravo?
Heath wants to.
No, I mean like if they're fucking with other kinfolk, then it's pretty much free reign for us to regulate their asses, as far as I'm concerned. They're not gonna harm any of my business, considering that I have businesses in New Mexico, Massachusetts, in the plantation here. They could loiter in front of my farm all day long. I don't really give a shit. They walk onto my property, I'll shoot them. A rich guy in a white suit, is that right, Laz? He must be my nemesis, because I'm a rich guy in a black suit.
Sure. I'm just a rich guy with jeans on, I guess. It's a rich white guy in a suit, which is not me. Where are you saying anything? So, what do we do about this? Or if anything, really?
Well, I mean, if they're screwing with kinfolk, it's kind of up to us to help them. But, I mean, I don't like people fucking around with marginalized humans either. So if it's some rich guy trying to pull his weight, let's go find this guy. Fuck it. You want to go, Isaac?
Yeah, sure, why not? Got nothing better to do.
Now just let me wash up real quick. So he walks him back towards the house. He washes his hands. He changes his jacket, puts on a better vest, and grabs the old guns and starts to saddle up the old horse.
And Laz says, "You're messing with gators," Isaac said.
Yeah, every now and again, a gator gets a little bit too close, and, it's kind of a deal you gotta have with them, you know what I mean? You tell them, come correct or get corrected. It's just the way it is.
And Laz says, "Oh, I see."
Dealing with gators is a lot like dealing with rich folk, Laz. As long as you never turn your back on them, you'll be okay. So yeah, I figure if they get all cleaned up, they all get on their horses, they'll be able to get through town faster. They'll ride out to the poorer neighborhoods,
Hmm.
up and down the streets, and figure out exactly which place is being loitered in front of.
Yeah. So as the group of you travel down the streets, over to the poorer side of the city, you do see seems to be the target of the day seems to be like a small general store. And there's just a group of these homeless people and beggars just kind of loitering out front, and whoever hired them picked out like the basically the dirtiest ones, and yeah, you see that there are people on the street that are kind of like walking around and avoiding them, and the store itself is open, but it doesn't seem to have any customers inside. But you can see through the window there is the clerk there, and they're kind of pacing the store, tidying things up, but also kind of peeking outside, trying to see if there's something going on outside. Or
Is this a kinfolk owned store?
it's not. It's just one of the local like family owned stores. It's not connected to any kinfolk.
Okay, are there any kinfolk that he knows of in the group of homeless people?
I'd say probably two of them are kinfolk that don't know about the Garu, but you do recognize them, and Laz does too.
Okay. So they ride up to the store, and he gets off his horse and he wraps the reins around he hitches it and walks around the horse, and he starts walking up through the homeless people to see if they actually stop him from going into the store.
And none of them stop you from going into the store. But one of the kinfolk that I mentioned, we'll say his name is Frank. And he says, "Oh, hey, Mr. Adrian," and he says hello.
Frank,
But
welcome back, Laz.
welcome back, Laz. But other than that, they don't stop you from going into the store.
He goes up into the store, asks the guy if they have sugar cubes. If they do, he buys a package of sugar cubes, walks back out of the store with the items that he bought,
Mm-hmm.
walks down and stands right in the middle of the homeless people, and he just stops. Right, looking around, not really at them, but he's looking around. Then he smiles and looks at the homeless people and says, "Rumor has it somebody's paying people $10 a day to stand in front of stores to ruin people's lives. Is this true?"
And you see the group. We'll say it's about maybe six, and they all start to look at each other, and one of them just kind of shrugs and says, "Yeah, easiest work I've ever done."
Me and my friends are gonna go over to the Rising Sun, and the first one of you to find the person that hired you and bring them to the Rising Sun gets $50. I'll be leaving there in a half an hour. Just to make sure that they believe it, he actually opens up his billfold, pulls out two 20s and a 10, and waves it, shows it to him that he actually has $50.
And
Then he puts it back into his wallet, shoves it in the thing, says to the guys, "Let's go to the Rising Sun. Drinks are on me."
And as as you guys walk away, you see the group. They all look at each other and they start to disperse, taking their own paths to the rising sun. And they try to do it kind of casual like, but eventually, maybe like around the corner, you see they're running to try to find the guy that hired them.
That's one way to do it.
You know, I thought I could threaten them,
Thought you were going to threaten them.
or I could just make them work for me while beating the shit out of each other so that they can get to the guy and bring him to me first.
Effective.
Money talks, so...
Yep.
Oh, let's just hit the rising sun and see who kills who while bringing this guy over.
Yeah, see, we can get into the violence thing, and then the police get involved, and people start getting arrested and all that shit, and I gotta go be a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. Nah, we just make them bring the guy to us.
Can you be my lawyer?
I can be your lawyer. I am your lawyer.
Good.
Why would you have a different lawyer?
I don't know. Depends on how many bar fights I might get into eventually.
Oh, that's easy shit. Yeah, I'll be your lawyer.
Cool.
Your Honor, my client is innocent because he's one angry son of a bitch. He can't help himself.
I can't.
Your Honor, the fact that he beat the shit out of 14 people was completely justified when I found out that the whiskey he paid 75 cents for was 90% water.
How fucking dare they?
And that's why Heath killed everybody. They sold him water for 75 cents.
How much is
Welcome
a
back,
life
Les.
How much is a life force? 75 cents.
No, Adrian's got an even better one than that. How much is life for? Depends. How much can I buy a bullet for?
Oh, I didn't realize you were gone, Laz. Yeah, I think your Discord did crash.
So what happened, Laz, is they rode out to the store. They found the homeless people. Adrian went into the store. They didn't stop him. But then he asked them. Then he basically offered one of them $50 for the first one that can bring the guy that hired them to the Rising Sun. Now they're going to go to the Rising Sun and drink some beer and see if the guy that hired all the homeless people comes up and meets Adrian there. And the pack. So they make their way to the Rising Sun. They all get a beer. They all sit down and they're just going to talk, and Heath just hired Adrian as his lawyer. So, you know, normal stuff.
Excuse me just a moment. I need to break up some cat drama.
No problem.
This means I have free reign to get into any fight I want.
Alright, cat drama avoided. They decided to leave each other alone.
Hooray!
Alright, yeah, so you guys have some drinks at the Rising Sun. And you recognize a few faces at the Rising Sun, of course. It's a mix of other Garu, regular people, but mostly kinfolk. And within, let's say, half an hour, maybe a few minutes longer, you do see this very well-dressed gentleman walk through the door. Like, he looks like he was born and raised with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's got like the top of the line fashion. He has this big fancy top hat on his head. He takes a look around, and he's not a face you've ever seen in the Rising Sun before. He's definitely looks like one of the aristocratic types that would probably go to a more expensive place. Like, the Rising Sun is kind of, I guess, like, kind of middle of the road, like not too expensive, but not too cheap either. But yeah, he definitely looks like almost like a fish out of water here, as most of the patrons, they look to be either kind of middle class city folk or travelers passing by. But he takes a look around, probably goes up to the bar to get a drink, maybe order some food, and he finds a table to sit down at.
And one of the homeless guys brought him?
Yes. Yeah, see one of the homeless guys also walk in, and he recognizes you from afar, and he points this guy out and says, "Yeah, that's the guy." And this person looks like he has like a black eye where he might have gotten punched by one of the other guys that were racing to find this guy.
Maybe it spoke a little too well.
What happens, happens. Give him his money and motion him away. You can go now. And when the guy goes and sits at his own table, he looks to the others and says, just keep your eye on me. If something bad happens, we can take this piece of shit. Hopefully.
I don't know about you, but the rest of us can.
Oh, I can.
Try not to break a nail during your talk.
I want to shoot you in the dick while you take it. He gets up, walks over, pulls out a chair, and sits down at the table with the guy.
Yeah, and he watches as you approach, and he waits until you sit down, and he takes a sip of his drink, and it's probably like the most expensive thing on the menu, and he says, I suppose it would be fair to assume that you're the one that was interested in meeting with me? I was told it was over a business proposition.
Something like that, yes. It's my understanding that you're paying homeless people to loiter in front of smaller businesses for reasons we don't know. Is this true?
Well, for reasons that you don't know, perhaps, but I know those reasons. But yes, what you say is true.
What country are you from?
And he laughs a little bit at the question, and he says, "Why, America, of course."
Oh, America, of course. Then what the fuck is your problem with the goddamn free market in a capitalistic society?
And he looks a little taken aback by that, and he says, "Why, good sir, I am practicing the free market in a capitalistic society."
No, the free market in a capitalistic society states that the person with the better goods is going to sell more than anybody else. They don't need to lower themselves to trickery to keep people out of other stores to get into their stores. What you're doing is a dishonorable act. By all I can figure is a dishonorable man. Why the fuck would you have people do that?
Well, I suppose you should ask the people that were willing to take the money. I had work and they had time. They had money to make.
What store do you own?
Well, let's just say I represent a number of business interests from up north, sir. I have my associates, my business partners see the potential profit in Saint Denis being both a port town and a major railroad station here in the state. And the business prospects, as well as the railroad being constructed further westward, opens up a potential avenue for an expansion of financial interests.
You're not even from Saint Denis. You're just screwing around with people's lives down here because business interests.
Oh, if it brings your mind at ease, sir, there will be plenty of job opportunities available in the near future. All in all, it will be good for the city as a whole. I've stayed in the city long enough that I am fully aware of the how should I phrase it? I'm actually having a brain fart. Give me just a moment.
No problem.
It's alright, take your time.
Yes, how should I phrase it? The lack of financial wealth among much of this city's population. I don't think I have to remind you, sir, that on almost every street corner there is at least one beggar, one homeless person, at least one individual that has gambled away their life's earnings. Now, this is a city of vice, but also opportunity, should it be in the hands of those who know how to open up those avenues. And I, sir, happen to be one of them.
Is that right? Well, I need to tell you something, sir. I want you to understand that I'm coming from a place that is trying to help you. Pursuant to state law, Article 3, line 72 of the Constitution of this state, pursuant to Penal Code 94 of the Saint Denis Charter, hiring people to sabotage the good work of other people is actually considered a federal crime to which the city can have you arrested, fine you up to $500 per time that you have done this, and can also take away the business licenses of the people that you are so helping to do. You see, you're destroying the lives of the honest people by taking advantage of the people that lost everything because they couldn't handle their sin and their vice. This is against the law. And yes, in case you were wondering, I am a lawyer and understand the law quite well. I'm letting you know now. If you continue with your illegal activities, we will be forced to bring the full bearing of the law of the city, the state, and the federal government down upon you.
About this time, hearing him say that, Isaac kind of pulls his jacket back a bit and shows the bounty hunter's badge he has that also has the sheriff's emblem on it. Just keeps watching.
And he listens as you're talking, and he even gives a quick glance around as, like, I'm kind of imagining Adrian is speaking a little bit more loudly now as he's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see that it's definitely drawing the attention of a few other people. And you even see Margaret and some of the other, like maybe one or two of the other sept elders catch their attention on this conversation, and as you draw like everybody's attention to the scene, and this gentleman he catches on, and he gives a slow nod, and he says, "Oh, I catch your meaning, sir, and I will certainly consider this as legal advice. But allow me to say, and to remind you, sir, with all due respect, that you cannot stop progress, and progress will come in one form or another."
It's not your form.
Oh, perhaps not, but it may be something, well, even less satisfactory to your tastes. And he starts to stand up. And he's going to make a move to leave unless you stop him.
Nope. But he knows that I'll be out tomorrow looking to see whose store is being blocked next.
All right.
Have a wonderful day, sir. And if you do any more business in Saint Denis, make sure it's legal business, because if it's not, I will be all over your ass like white on rice.
And he doesn't say anything in answer. He just walks even faster out of the rising sun. And there's maybe a moment or two of silence as everybody, maybe a few seconds of silence as everybody watches him leave, and then they go back to their business. And you see, you definitely have the attention of some of the sept elders and some of the other higher ranked Garu that are stopping by for a drink or two.
As Isaac mutters, "Show off" against his glass before drinking.
He actually reaches out, takes the guy's glass and sniffs it, see if it was actually worth anything, takes a sip, and says, "Man, stuff they sell here is cheap." But all the elders are here, so it's fun. Dumps out what the guy had, gives the glass back to the bar, sits down in his chair, picks up his beer, and says, "You see, you don't have to fight with these people. You just have to pull out a bunch of numbers and laws and all this other shit and start telling them the state, the city, the federal government, they're just going to take your freedom and your money. You don't want to fuck with them."
Yeah, but it's not as fun.
Yes, it
I would
is.
have to agree with him there.
It is fun.
For you, look at us. We got a bounty hunter, a basically a storyteller, and a fucking hunter. You're the only one who has fucking like college education in this fucking group. So trust us when we say it's not fun. just watching you talk.
It's amusing in a way. Like, you see them trying to run all these numbers through their head, wondering if this person is either talking out of their ass or actually knowing what the fuck they're going on about.
Do
And
you
half the time, Adrian, I think you are talking out of your ass, but it's enough where people don't question about it.
Can I tell you all the secret,
I'm
honestly?
pretty sure everything you told that guy was a load of bullshit.
Can I tell you all on an honest to God secret?
What's that?
I have
Everything up?
never forgotten a single word that I have ever read. I cannot forget anything that I read. Everything I told him was not bullshit. It was 100% accurate at the time that I read it.
So it might not be accurate now in this city.
Laws change, but they don't change that much.
So it's a possibility of being bullshit.
It's a possibility of being bullshit, but chances are it's not. And what he was doing is 100% illegal to the federal government.
Right. Look, I know you're trying to lawyer us into submission to basically not question this entire thing, but I'm still going to say that this is fucking boring watching you talk. Like, honestly, like, probably around the 2nd minute mark, my eyes glazed over from just hearing this conversation from this end.
I was amused. That's for certain.
That
Did
guy
you-
there,
Did
that
you
guy
understand
there,
that? What's up?
if you punch that motherfucker in the face, he's going to have you in prison and he is going to continue to fuck with anybody he feels that he can fuck with. If you come at him on his level or higher and fuck with him right back, he has no recourse. He leaves with his tail tucked between his legs.
And
And
Laz,
friends that you could fight with.
Laz chimes in. Oh, I thought he was eloquent.
Well, he was. He was. All them fancy words.
It's all fancy bullshit. You are correct. It was fancy bullshit.
Well, I have you as my lawyer, remember?
Yes,
So
you do.
you could have just punched him and gone to jail.
Look,
So, listen, that is how we handled that situation. If you're looking for something with a little more action, in a few days we're going to find the guy that was hiring all the poachers. And if we get things my way, we're going to find him alone.
Fine.
And he's not going to be a problem anymore when we're done finding him alone. You get it?
Did you get the business that he was running, that guy?
No, because he's a person who is running a business for other people, trying to open the door. They do that a lot so that when the bigger business comes in, giving everybody a way better place to buy their goods at, the guy that did the bad shit is not actually tied to the business that hired him to hire the people anyway. It's just their way of keeping their hands clean. It's all a bunch of rich-ass white folk doing rich-ass white folk shady shit.
Yeah. I mean, I was just asking for my friend, Mr. Fire, Mr. Alcohol.
I'm with him.
Look, he works for a guy named Sam Walton. I already know about this shit.
I swear, I'm not sure if you'll ever, like, completely lawyer us to death, but I fear for myself if it ever happens.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, that is not gonna work because I hate to break this to you, but I'm too fucking stupid to follow half the things you say.
Counterpoint.
Oh, really? This ought to be good. Go for it, please. See if my fucking
Isaac
peanut-sized
starts pouring
brain.
more alcohol.
See if my fucking peanut-sized brain can understand your big words.
At least he's honest.
Look, just because I know math to run a business doesn't mean that I actually understand half the thing he says.
Counterpoint.
What's your counterpoint?
In this pack, from here on out, stupid people are not allowed to drink.
Well, I'm reciting a rebellion then. I know big words. Well, maybe. That's big enough. Or is it a revolution?
Which
doesn't
one
matter.
is it? A rebellion or a revolution?
Gotta
These are
start
two
making-
different things, and they're handled two different ways.
A rebel revolution.
A revolution.
Yeah, there you go. See? You
A
got
bit
it.
of
Drink your beer. We had to handle that man a certain way. We can't go around beating the shit out of normal people every chance we get.
I knew
This
I
is
should-
the way. This is the way we keep from being in trouble and getting the Sept in trouble.
I knew I should have got into the moonshine business. It's a lot less wordsy. Anyway,
We should get into the moonshine business.
I thought you were a lawyer, and that was not up and up.
Who says that we can't make alcohol legally?
Well, I do have a. You know what? Never mind. Like, before we go into this fucking realm. Although I do have that spot in the. Anyway,
A decent supply of actual real vodka would be nice. I do prefer vodka over whiskey.
is that what moonshine is?
Depends on what you make.
Whiskey's.
Whiskey's whiskey's made with what? Wheat and
Corn?
rye,
Oh, that would
corn. Yeah, it
corn.
could be made with corn. Brandy's made with fruit. Whiskey's made with rye.
Ale is made with honey.
Ale is no.
No?
Ale is just a thicker beer.
No.
Mead is made with honey, and
Oh.
vodka's made with potatoes.
I am not drunk enough to be sitting here listening to the fundamentals of alcohol making.
Have some more liquid bread.
He has a point, honestly. Well, I guess
The
now
only
I've got a-
thing, the only thing that changes in alcohol is what you make with it. Is what you make it with. I mean, it's just that simple.
I'm making apple pie moonshine then.
That would be brandy.
Oh, okay. I'm making apple pie vodka then.
No, it would have to be potato pie.
Fine, I'm
Oh.
making sweet potato fucking vodka. Are you happy now?
It might be possible. It is starchy.
We're gonna have to try this and see if it's a marketable thing.
Oh boy.
I mean, look
We're
around
not
you.
starting a moonshine business.
Okay, maybe you're not starting a moonshine business, but just hand it over
of
to the
course
kid.
not.
No, Heath.
I'm just
You and
looking
me.
around.
You and me. We're gonna do this moonshine.
Moonshine. Have other people just work it out while we figure the other stuff out.
We'll call
Some of
it. We'll call it Aunt Luna's sweet potato moonshine.
We can have several brands for it too.
Yeah. We'll work on that later.
Yeah.
We'll probably have a name for that company before we have a
Oh, we
name
have
for
a
the
name
pack.
damn pack.
Look, business and whatever this is are
Money.
two things. Yeah, money makes things go faster. Like friendship and bonds takes time to think about, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if we had left you guys to the normal means to find that guy, it'd take a week, maybe two. I found him in less than 30 minutes. All it cost me was $50.
Which probably that poor guy's gonna get fucking mugged after he left. But yeah, it only cost you $50.
I'm pretty certain he's not too worried about that guy.
You think? He probably forgot about him.
It's not a kinfolk. You don't care.
Forgot about who?
Exactly. See,
Exactly.
I swear.
The carpenter worry about his hammer when the house is finished being built? No.
Well, yeah, if you want to
Well,
build
it's
a
a
new
good
house.
hammer.
Yeah, but does he worry about the hammer? No.
Sure, he'll worry about losing it, or maybe he uses it on something else and it breaks. Of course he's
Yeah,
gonna
but
worry.
when you're in a city filled with desperate hammers, it really doesn't matter.
I need another beer.
Have another loaf of liquid bread?
Why are you torturing him like this? That's my question.
I don't understand why you guys think this is torture. This is just a clear mental process.
I never said it was torture.
And during
Mr.
this
Peanut
entire
Brain over there. Though.
during this
Sorry.
entire conversation, Laz looks like he's just deep in thought.
You know that meme about that lady with all the equations going around her
Yeah.
head?
I'd probably wonder what kind of pack did I get myself into.
My pack leader's a lawyer. Does anybody else have to deal with this shit?
The leader's a lawyer. his two closest quote unquote friends are they're his way for his safety varies. And then there's Laz.
I think you're all awesome. So order another liquid bread.
Stop calling it liquid bread. Even though that I know that's what it is. I want another piece of pie. Some pie, a little bit of warm milk.
Okay, what do you guys want to do for the third day? Just
Try not to get killed, or try not to fucking die from being worded to death by Adrian.
Get Heath into a bar fight he didn't start.
Oh yeah,
No, we're gonna-
be a little pixie Ragabash for a little bit there.
yeah.
Wait,
Just go to another. Are there any alcohol beverages made from oranges?
Mimosa. Nah.
Mimosa.
It would be a brandy.
Yeah, because it's citrus.
No, because it's a fruit.
Caribbean rum.
Yeah, if you make alcohol, if you distill fruit, it's a brandy. If you distill like a wheat or a rye, it's a whiskey. Potatoes make vodka. It's just, and then again, if you make it in a certain place, for instance, Scotch is whiskey that's made in Scotland. So you can not make Scotch anywhere other than Scotland legally. It has to be made in Scotland.
Oh boy.
Stupid. I know.
Well, I mean, champagne's made somewhere in Europe.
It's made in Champagne, France.
Oui, mon ami.
What's killing me is that I can't tell if this is all in character or out of character.
Yes, basically.
Yes.
All in character.
It's like I can't look. We said we were gonna start a fucking moonshine business. We don't need to know about fucking champagne or Scott from Scotland.
I mean, moonshine. It can be more than just moonshine. It's just alcohol business.
All right, let's fade to black on this conversation about moonshine.
Meanwhile,
I feel like this is getting a little out of hand. I mean, we did spend, I think, almost an hour talking about pack totems.
we just spent an hour about tax plans, but I spent 20 minutes talking about fucking
Hey,
alcohol.
it's the pack getting to know each other.
Yeah, apparently we're all fucking a bunch of drunks.
Hey, you know, when the Wild West is either killing people or there's drinking, might as well do both.
Yeah, the third day, Adrian, probably with at least Isaac, if not all four of them, gonna take a quick ride around to make sure no other shops are being fucked with.
Mhm.
And then it's gonna be kind of a let's take it easy that day, make sure everything's packed for the trip, because they are gonna go out and get the they're gonna have to go out and get the poacher.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, take it easy kind of thing. He wants to spend most of the afternoon / evening with Izzy, and of course they're gonna tell what's her name, Mary Margaret.
Mary is the Master of the Right. That's the Shadow Lord, and then Margaret is the Black Fury Sept leader.
There you go. Tell them both that they're leaving again to go finish the initial mission that they were supposed to do and haven't gotten around to yet.
It's a work in progress.
There's a really good legal reason. Let me explain.
And
No.
Margaret's just like, no, you don't have to explain. I get it.
No, fuck that, no.
Just get out.
The one thing I'm not going to do is talk law with you. Just go away. Harvard piece of shit. So yeah, kind of a say goodbye to your kinfolk, eat a good dinner, don't get too drunk. We leave at dawn.
Before that, can I make a roll just to see what will happen?
Oh, sure.
Heath is gonna go into the kitchen and try to bake a pie.
Okay.
Oh, good word.
So how many do I roll? One die, 1d10. Let's go with that.
I was gonna say like probably intelligence and crafts.
Oh, okay. Hang on. We're doing this official. Let's see. So, 2 intelligence and no crafts. Okay, 2d10.
I mean, it fits.
A 2 and a 10.
All right, so you do succeed in what were you trying to make?
I was making another apple pie because he hates bothering Easy about it.
Okay, so you managed to make another pie. It's okay. It's passable. It's not Izzy's cooking, but it's a pie.
He's gonna take it to his room. I'm like, fuck all of you.
Gonna
You
find
know-
him in the morning with an empty bottle of whiskey and a half-eaten pie. Gonna just be in his underwear going, I have so many regrets.
Ah.